One of the biggest problems with image generation is faces not lining up how you want, resulting in failed generations and wasted time trying to fix problems with your images. In this video, I'm going to be taking you step by step through simple to complex workflows, showing you how to fix these problems for good so you never have to face this issue ever again. Okay, we're inside of Comfy UI here. We're going to be using Live Portrait to be able to manipulate some images. If you don't have Comfy UI installed, I have a video on installing Comfy UI so you can get up to speed. After you have it installed, what we're going to look at, we're going to need to install the Comfy UI Advanced Live Portrait plugin from the Comfy UI manager here. Comfy UI Advanced Live Portrait, I obviously have it installed. You're also going to want to install the Impact Pack. You're also going to want to install this. Once you have those installed, we're going to have a blank workflow here, and I'm going to take this step by step so you can understand how to do this. We're going to add the expression editor. This is the thing that we're going to use to edit our image. We're going to add a load image node. We can drag from the source image and then click load image here. So this is our loaded image. Then we go from the image, this is the output, and we take preview image. This is so we can see the image. Keep in mind, if you want to save your image, you would have to add a save image node instead here. With this, we're not going to be saving the image since I'm just going to use it to show you. Yeah, and this is quite simple. If I change the blink setting to -20 here, and I cue this, you see on the other end here, I end up with an image of the person blinking here. One thing you'll notice is it doesn't look as good or realistic. You could set this to about -10 so it's not as extreme. Yeah, you can see here that this looks better than the original image. Obviously, it's kind of tedious to change the setting here if you're trying to like fine-tune the face here. But what you can do is you come here to the queue and turn on auto queue and set it to on change. What this will do is every time you change a setting, it will immediately re-render the graph. So if I zoom in here and I change this setting, you'll see that her face turns there. I can change this here. It will turn. If I turn it back, it will turn the other way. Yeah, and now by doing that, you gain the ability to get instant results, which is much more user-friendly of an experience. You can use this with any image. I can add this image in here, and you see immediately the image that we get updates to whatever the latest image is. And we can still change the settings here, but one thing you'll very quickly notice is that with this image, because this image is larger than our first image, it actually takes longer to be able to update. You can see how long it takes there, right? What you can do is add a upscale image by, you add this in the in-between, and then you take this and set it to 0.5. I know upscale sounds like probably what you don't want, but if you set it to half, it actually scales the image down. So you can quickly make changes to the image now, because it's much faster now. So we set these back to 0. Okay, now I'm going to go through the settings here. So the first setting we have is pitch. This turns the head up and down. So if you set this higher, you see that her head goes down. If I go lower, if I go negative, then her head turns up. Next, we have yaw, which is side to side. If I go up, this will turn to the right. If I go down, it'll turn to the left. Blink is self-explanatory. This is how much you blink. If you increase it, the eyes open, but if you reduce it, then the eyes close. The eyebrows is how high the eyebrows are. If I increase it, you'll see that her eyebrows go up, but if I decrease it, they kind of get squinted together. Next, we have is wink, which allows one of the eyes to wink. So the left one in particular, if I increase the wink here, she winks at one of her eyes. Yeah, you can obviously combine these. If I set the wink to like 15 and I set the eyebrow to like 12 or something, you could change her expression by a decent amount. The next setting we have is pupil X and Y. So this decides on the X axis where the eyes go. If I increase this, she'll look over to the right. If I decrease it, she'll look over to the left. And then Y is the same thing for the Y axis. If I increase it, she looks up, which also makes her eyes open wider, by the way. And if I decrease it, she'll look down, which also makes her eyes close. Okay, now we have vowels. So with these, you have ah, which opens your mouth. If I increase this, the mouth would open to make like an ah sound. If I go to E, this clasps your teeth together, making an E sound. So if I increase this, you get that. And woe purses your lips together, making a whoa sound. You can also do these in reverse. So if I go to ah and I reduce it, instead of opening your mouth, you actually close your mouth. And then same with E, you end up pursing your mouth even harder when you do this. We didn't have the smile here, which is pretty self-explanatory. When you increase this, the person smiles. And then we have these other settings, which only matter when you're working with samples. So I'll try to show that pretty quickly here. You want to have another load image node and stick this here in the sample image. And what this does is it takes the face expression from a provided image. So if I drop this face in, you see that the face changes here. Interestingly, you still have control here over all of the settings. You have control over the ah, the E, the whoa. It's just that now the baseline becomes like whatever image it is put in here. You can obviously try other images here, like this one. If the image is too different, then it might cause the face to bundle up like this. So you can then tweak the settings to make it look normal again. The simplest setting to change in that case would be sample ratio, which reduces the amount of influence that the sample image has. So if I drop this like 0.5, you'll see that it normalizes her face and doesn't make it as bad. And obviously, with this setup, you can use any image you want. So I could apply like this, for example, to this image and getting something like this. Moving on here, we're gonna try an image with multiple people in it. You'll immediately notice something. If you see here, what it does is target one of the people in the image. But if I look at the actual like image that it produces, none of the other people are affected by the changes that you make. Only the one person is affected. And with the expression editor from this plugin, there's no way to be able to target the other people. So I'm going to show you how to get to be able to target other people in the image, despite the editor not really allowing this. First, just to make things go more smoothly, we're just going to turn off auto cue. Here, make sure to set this back to disabled. For this, you're going to make sure that you have installed the impact pack. You're going to need that for this part of the video. But we're going to type bbox detector segs. Type this in, you'll get this plugin here. Pull out from bbox detector and then take ultralytics detector provider. If you click onto this, you should see a few models here. Face, hand, person. What we want is a face model. This uses a face model to detect faces in the image. The model will get automatically downloaded if you don't have it, so don't worry. We then need to feed our image into this here. And on the other end of the segs, we come here and we want to add a segs preview. So segs preview, we want to add this here. This is just going to show us what comes out of the image. So when we queue here, you can see what happens here, right? This is showing all of the detected faces. So this detected this face, it detected this one, it detected this one, and detected two faces in the back there. In order to get the face fed into the expression editor, we can't just do this. You know, obviously this doesn't connect to this. So if you want to select a face, you can go segs picker. You want to get the picker segs, put it into this, put it into this. And with the picker segs here, if you queue, you can click onto this, and this will show all of the faces that were detected. If you click onto any of this, it will add a number. If I click onto this face and then click done, you'll see that it adds the number 1. If I click onto this one, it will add the number 2. We're just going to set this to 2 here, and that's going to be the second detected face in the image. From this, so with the second image detected, we want to convert that to a mask. So we say segs to mask combined. Take this here and go mask, convert mask to image. And if we preview this, you'll see what this is doing. What it's doing is taking the image. So this is the detected part of the image. This is what we're getting. That's what we have. This is giving us a black and white detection here. This is going to become important as we go. So I'm just slowly explaining here. We're going to have image composite mask. This is going to take the mask that we have and the image that we want and is going to combine them together. So we take this, we take the original image, and this should be connected to the source. That's the second input on the source here. And then we could also connect this here, the destination image, to this. We connect the mask that we converted to an image to the destination. And then we take the mask from segs to mask combine and place that at mask. And then if we preview this image, you'll see that what we get is this. So what this is quite simple here. It's taken the other faces and it's hidden them from the image. Meaning, if I feed this blacked out image into the expression editor, you'll see what happens here. See? Now it targets the face that we want, because it can only find this one face. So the face that we want is the one that it targets with the expression manipulation. But if we go to the image, the final image, then we get this, which is not what we want. So how do we unblack the image? Well, it's quite simple. What we need to do here is add another image composite, mask. We add that here. We take the image, and this becomes the source. This becomes the source. The mask is the original mask that we had. So we add that to the mask, and the destination becomes the original image. Like this. So when we add that in there, we then take this as the output, and if we run again, you'll see what happens now. So now it changes the face. We end up back with the original image. But if we zoom in on the image, we'll notice something. There's a black border around the image here, but we can remove that quite simply. So what you want to do, come here, we're going to add dilate mask. We add this to them in between the mask. If we take this, what it's going to do is increase the size of the mask, which is actually not what we want, but I'm going to show you here just so you can see what this does. You'll see that it gets bigger now. The black border got bigger. We don't want it bigger, we want it smaller. So what we want to do is decrease the size. We set this to -10 and then run this. And you can see now that the border mostly disappears. But if we zoom in super close, you can see that you can still see the edge there. It's still there. So what we want to do here now is in between the dilate mask, we want to add a Gaussian blur. Now this is going to take the mask and it's actually going to blur it. So it's not as hard of a line. And we're also going to increase the mask to about like 50 here. Increase it to about 50. And if you do that, now you zoom in and you can see that you can't actually see a edge on the image. You can do this to easily choose which one of the masks you want to target. So I could set this to 1. If I can set this to 1 and then run the thing. And now it targets her. It targets her instead. I could also set it to 3 and now it targets her instead. Okay, great. But now we have a new problem. We can only target one of the people in the image. We actually want to target multiple people. So how do we do that? Okay, so let me show you how to do this. For this, it's quite simple. So we want to basically just take the graph and copy it over. So everything in between the B-box detector and the final image here and the preview image, you want to highlight that. In order to go into highlight mode, you hold Control, select all of these, Control C, so you Control C, and then after you Control C, you want to Control Shift V, not Control V, Control Shift V, so that you can copy with the links. So you come here and you copy with the links, and you see that you get the link, the links copied over. Hold Shift now, so you can move this around. If you don't hold Shift, you'll just select one of the nodes. You can actually move this over here by holding Shift, so I can move this to where the original ones were. And now I have this copied over. So I can set this to 1, and I set this one to 2. Also, this part of the graph, you want to just move this over. I can just have these next to each other. And what you want to do here is, for the first one, you want to take this and feed it into destination here. You feed this into destination, and for the image here, you want to feed this into the output. And if I do that, you'll see now that both of the faces are being targeted here. If you want to target the third face, it would be as simple as just copying the graph again and linking it up to the third face. I'm going to swap this to the third face here, like this. Okay, so I'm going to put these next to each other, and then I'm also going to take the preview image. So one thing you'll notice if you try to edit the image now, and try to make any big changes, is that the image gets messed up like this. So how you fix that is simply going back here to your B-box detector and upping the dilation. So if I set this like about 100, it makes it where the detected box is now larger, meaning that now you don't see that same issue. We could probably make it even bigger here, set it to about 150. That makes it where once it detects the face, it actually takes even more of the image, as opposed to just the part where the face is detected. The cool thing about having multiple faces is that you can have interactions that would otherwise be impossible to be able to add to the image. Just so doing this, you could see that we very obviously completely changed the interaction that existed in the image. Now, going from what we had initially, which was this, we swapped over to this, changing the overall vibe of the image. Also, obviously, because both of these are separate images, you can still add sample images to them. Yeah, so you could still edit these sample images. Yeah, so with Live Portrait, there's a lot of stuff you can do. It's really good if you just use it to edit an image, and it allows you, where if you've generated an image and you like every part of the image other than the expression that the person has, you can use this to change the expression to line up with exactly what it is that you want. Obviously, in this, I used real images of people as opposed to AI images. Doesn't really make a difference. You can use this like AI images, real images, whatever. I just thought it made more sense to show you the fidelity that it has by using a real image as opposed to an AI image. So I don't think it makes much of a difference here. If you liked the video, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Also